Previously on Trains Are Awesome, we're aboard Amtrak Southwest Chief number 3 from Chicago, Illinois to Los Angeles, California, and we've already been on this train 2 days and 2 nights. Now on the second day, which you saw last week, we went through Colorado, the Cajon Pass into New Mexico, and ended our day in Albuquerque. Because of a freight train delay, night fell and it was bedtime before we could go into Arizona. We wake up on the western side of Arizona. Good morning, everyone. This is day 3 aboard the Southwest Chief. We're still in Arizona, but about to cross into California.
Beyond our control due to flooding and freight traffic. There's some estimated times. Needles 7:20, Barstow 9:50, Victorville 10:30, San Bernardino 11:40, Riverside. Once again, Riverside 12 o'clock, Fullerton 12:45, and Los Angeles 1:30. Once again, these are estimated times. If for some reason we get held up behind freight again, it will be a little bit later. Also, our bus connections, they're all going to be made in Los Angeles. Still further notice. If I get any notice, I will let you know. Okay, coach passengers, the cafe is open and serving.
Last week, you got to see some of the amazing views that New Mexico had to offer. This morning, we're seeing a glimpse of the rocky countryside of Arizona, which kind of reminds me of the Cars movie. And soon we'll be crossing into California and taking in some Mojave Desert views. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and warn you, today's video is full of the views that we saw out of this train. Trust me, they get even better. We're approaching the Colorado River, which marks the border between Arizona and California. It's also important to note that we're in Pacific time right now, meaning this is the 3rd time zone that the Southwest Chief crosses over, and the 4th time zone of my trip from Michigan. And now we're officially in the state of California. California is the U.S.'s 3rd largest state by surface area, the largest by population and GDP. In fact, it has an economy so large, if it were its own country, it would be the world's 5th largest economy. And just because we're in California, as exciting as that is, doesn't mean we're almost in LA yet. Like I mentioned before, California is a very large state. Its geographic area is comparable to that of Japan. Now we're running through the Mojave Desert, and here you wouldn't really believe that this is the most populated state in America. I hadn't had the opportunity to change into my sweatpants last night, or brush my teeth, or use the dude wipes, because my neighbor next to me was sleeping and there was no chance on this green earth that I was going to wake him up. So I'm all dressed for my last day on Amtrak. I'm all freshened up, and once this toothpaste taste gets out of my mouth, I think I'm gonna buy a juice at the cafe and eat the last of the snacks Lindsay packed me. It should be another 2.5 hours until we're in Barstow, California, and the scenery is breathtaking. To celebrate arriving in California, I decided to wear my In-N-Out socks today. I like the Amtrak cafe. They have a pretty good selection of food. It is kind of expensive. But man, with a delay like this, where we're adding an extra meal to the trip, I picture they're making a lot of extra money.
Our 7-hour delay definitely means there's less time to sightsee in Los Angeles, but you won't hear me complaining because otherwise it would have still been the middle of the night as we went through the desert here. Now, with daylight, we get to actually see the sights. The Mojave Desert is the driest desert in North America, and it's home to the Joshua tree, which is an endangered species.
Honestly, traveling through the desert like this is so cool. I've never done anything like this before in my life. Arriving at Barstow, California right now. We got a couple of minutes here. Let's see what that Mojave Desert air feels like. Barstow, California. It's hot here, but it's a dry heat. Lots of heritage units behind me. The metal of the train isn't too hot. As you can see by that Santa Fe locomotive behind me, we are still in Barstow, and that's because a lot of passengers on this train are transferring to the San Joaquin's trains up to Sacramento. And normally you'd transfer to an Amtrak throughway coach bus in Los Angeles Union Station, but because that's another hopefully 3 hours, maybe 4 hours away, they're offering a throughway bus from here to the San Joaquin's Valley, and a lot of people are using that connection. To make up for the delay, Amtrak staff brought over bottled water and goodie bags. It's safe to say I ate all the snacks in my goodie bag before Los Angeles.
On the right side of the train, you see some green. That's because the Mojave River comes to the surface down here. Yeah, that river runs along underneath the surface for quite a while, pops up to the surface here because of the hard rocks underneath. So on the right side, you can see the trace of the Mojave River. Also on the right side, in just a few minutes, we'll be going by Roy Rogers and Dale Evans' Temple Bar Ranch. Obviously, they're not around anymore, but the ranch still is. And right past Roy Rogers Ranch, which you'll identify from the sign up front, there is an ostrich farm. have to look carefully because if you don't look carefully, they just look like more sagebrush.
What's up, cuz? You almost there? Almost where? I think.
Someday in the future, you'll be able to change here in Victorville, California to the Brightline West high-speed train to Las Vegas.
San Bernardino. There's some paths in there that are very
We are currently climbing up the San Bernardino Mountains, up to the Cajon Pass. As you can see, this pass has 4 tracks. 3 of them are BNSF, including the one we're on, and the outermost track is Union Pacific.
Good morning, sleeping car passengers. Ricky here from the dining car. Sleeping car passengers, we will not be serving lunch this afternoon. We enjoyed our time with you. It's been a pleasant trip. So I hope you all have a safe journey wherever your travel may take you. Thank you very much for riding Amtrak on behalf of Crew 7. It's been a pleasure.
The railroad tracks over the pass were completed in the 1880s. There is also a highway that goes over the San Bernardino Mountains, although technically the cars don't go over the Cajon Pass, but the Cajon Summit.
So this looks like
which isn't independents are just locomotive trains, train rails. See, this coach has its own set of trains. Otherwise, 2 years ago we were separate.
To me, it seems like there's a lot more civilization and activity in the Cajon Pass compared to the Raton Pass. Of course, we're only at about half the altitude of the Raton Pass, and whereas in Raton, Amtrak is the only train that goes through there every day, the Cajon Pass is one of the busiest freight corridors in the United States, although we only saw this Union Pacific train here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now approaching San Bernardino. This is San Bernardino.
After leaving San Bernardino, where most of the Boy Scouts got off, we're in the greater LA metropolitan area. So let's look out the window and see if we can see some MetroLink trains. Oh, look, it's some old New Jersey Transit cars. And those tracks up there carry the Sunset Limited and the Texas Eagle into Los Angeles.
Here at Fullerton, passengers had the option of transferring to the Pacific Surfliner to San Diego. Now, normally this transfer takes place at Los Angeles, but because of our major delay, this was the best place to transfer. Now, we have several videos of the Pacific Surfliner running right by the Pacific coast. Be sure to check those out.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, folks. At this time, the lounge car. The lounge car is now closed for the remainder of our trip. I kindly ask you to please return to your coach or sleeping car accommodation.
Bye, lounge car. I'm gonna miss you. Ladies and gentlemen, there is the first glimpse of our skyline today.
Skyline in downtown Los Angeles, and we're less than 10 minutes away. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for traveling with us on the Southwest Chief. Yes, you brought it a little bit longer than you expected. Really sorry about that. Hope it didn't mess up your day too awfully bad. Because we'd sure like to see you again sometime when your travels take you on one of Amtrak's routes. Next station stop will be Los Angeles Union Station. At Los Angeles, we do have and ladies and gentlemen, we do also have people working at Amtrak station services who know where all the buses and trains go and at what time and where you can catch them. So we invite you to talk to them about any of your connections. Next station stop will be Los Angeles Union Station in about 7 minutes.
Say goodbye to my seat. Thank you. And I am officially off the Southwest Chief. I miss you already. This was the Southwest Chief, number 3 from Chicago all the way to Los Angeles. And I have to say, I enjoyed this trip 100% of the way. I need a moment to actually reflect over my trip. So let's go into Union Station Terminal and we'll talk more there.
Remember, I paid $50 for this trip from Chicago to Los Angeles, and what an amazing experience my $50 got me. Honestly, if you're on the fence about sleeping in coach, I made 2 really good nights.
Beautiful.
Amtrak seats are so much wider than any other train I've ever been on.
Look at those fancy seats. So behind me, this beautiful building is the waiting room in Union Station, and in front of me is going to be the metro station.
Join us next time as we leave Los Angeles Union Station and hop aboard the LA Metro and Angel's Flight, the over 100 years old funicular in downtown Los Angeles. We also go to Santa Monica Pier before flying Allegiant back to Grand Rapids, Michigan. You won't want to miss this, so make sure you subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, and we'll see you next time.